Alright, in this video, it's 9.5, solving polynomial equations in factored form. So, right now you might feel like this guy, but hopefully by the end of the video, you'll feel a little bit more like this guy. So, let's take a look at some different levels of questions here. We'll start with a nice, easy level, okay, on something like this. So, you're looking at a binomial times a binomial equals 0, and we're going to use the zero products property. It says when you multiply two things together and you get a 0, you know one of those things, one of those terms has to be equal to 0. So we're going to go ahead and figure this out. And
this is how we do it. This is how we do it.
Thank you, Montel Jordan. Okay, so here we go. If, let's call this A, and I'm multiplying by B, and it equals a 0, that must mean that A equals 0 or B equals 0, right? So keeping that concept the same, I'm going to say, x minus 1 times x plus 5 equals 0. I'm going to set x minus 1 equal to 0, or x plus 5 equals 0. And so here you can use some mental math and figure out that x has got to be equal to 1, or x is equal to negative 5. Right? It's going to be the opposite of what we see right there. So there's a first example. Let's take a look at a second example. All right, let's say this time I don't have a binomial, it's a monomial times a binomial. Well, I can say, well, this is this times that, so x has got to be equal to 0, that's this part here. Or x minus 7 has to equal 0. You can use some mental math to figure out that x has got to be equal to 7. So those are my two answers. When x equals 0 and when x equals 7, I'm going to get an answer of 0. Let's take a look at one more here. It's a little bit more complex. So once again, it's this binomial times another binomial. So I say, you know what? 2y plus 5 equals 0, or 7y minus 5 equals 0. So in this one, you're going to have to use some solving of equations here to figure this out. Okay, so we'll start off with this. If I'm trying to get the y portion by itself, I notice that other than the y variable, I have this positive 5. So the additive inverse is to subtract 5 to both sides. Okay, I can bring this guy down. That's going to give me 2y. These two cross out, and on this side I get negative 5. Not done yet because it's 2 times y, so I need to do the inverse operation, which means to divide. And then I can see that my final answer is going to be left with y is equal to negative 5/2. Let's take a look on this side. Once again, I'm going to try to get my y by itself, so I'll box that up for right now. I can see that I'm going to add 5 this time, the additive inverse, to get rid of that constant there. I'm going to bring down this 7y. I get 5 on this side, and then last but not least, 7 times y. That means I'm going to divide both sides by 7, and I get y equals 5/7. So there's some examples, some easy level of questioning on how to solve these type of problems. And hopefully you feel a little bit more like this guy right there. All right, I'll let you end out with some music here. All right, that's